Today, there is more going on in Summer City than we first realised. As much as our hero is trying to guide the people on the path of justice, there is also a force of evil at work that is trying to bring the city to a standstill. This is the Pedestrian, number 2. Hello there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics and the Cross, the greatest YouTubers you've never heard of. I'm your host for today, Cross, and today we are checking out the Pedestrian number 2 from Magma Comics. But before we get into that for today, if you were enjoying the content here at Comics and the Cross, then please consider going down and hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content coming from us. That's our reviews, our indie comic book club, and our interviews, including an upcoming interview we have with the writer of The Pedestrian, Joey Esposito, and the artist Shawn Gorman that will be coming to the channel very, very shortly. Also, if you have not checked out our previous review of The Pedestrian number 1, go and click the box up in the corner, get yourself all caught up before we delve into today's issue. But if you're all ready to go, let's dive on in. The Pedestrian number 2 was written by Joey Esposito, with artwork from Shawn Gorman. Colours are done by Jensen, and lettering is from Shawn Lee. Our issue begins with Sid and Jeremy, the boys that we met at the end of issue 1 who were almost hit by their drunk driving school teacher and were saved in just the nick of time. Their dad is heading out to work and we get to meet their babysitter for the day, who turns out to be Kira. We also met her in issue 1 as she was walking home from work and was almost assaulted, but she too was saved. The boys are finishing watching the latest episode of Laser Titans when Kira notices that Sid is drawing something. When she asks to see it, she immediately recognises it as the hero from the other evening that saved her. She tells the boys about her experience and they absolutely freak out that Kira has met him too. And they talk about his heroics, how he saved them without saying a word, and once the situation was over, he just speed walked away and they know nothing about him. A few days later, we follow our new narrator, Sophie Smith. Sophie is the crossing guard at the school who had been there and helped save Sid and James when they were almost run over. She talks about how there is evil in the world, and you can see it every day. Not the big stuff, but in little ways you see it permeating society. People like her can do little things to help counter some of these evils. And we see her doing that in the story. We see her returning a toy that a child has dropped, and also offering to drive a drunk man home so that he doesn't get hurt and doesn't end up crashing by drunk driving, which he's moments away from doing. She picks up a pizza and brings it home, all the while thinking to herself that there isn't a hope of someone like her against a bigger evil in the world. But it's time that someone takes that big evil on, and she'll be there to support them however she can. And we see that she isn't alone in her apartment, as our white-clad hero is sitting on her sofa, sharing a pizza with her. And it seems that Sophie knows a little bit more about what's going on than we initially realised. From there we cut over to James Tucker, the man responsible for attacking Kira during issue 1 and that our hero helped put behind bars. He's sitting feeling sorry for himself and complaining that the cops are focusing on him instead of on the real criminals in the city, when all of a sudden he has a visitor. A black-suited individual with red hands and a red hand imprint over the mask that's covering his face. The visitor doesn't say anything, but as James approaches the bars, the visitor places his hand on James's face, and some sort of red light starts to emit from it. While that's happening, Detective Sherwood of the Summer City PD is still looking into the identity of our hero. At this point he has been saving people all across the city, but when she looks into the school crossing incident and the children that were saved there, she also looks into the crossing guard, who happens to be Sophie. It turns out Sophie doesn't have any relatives that live in Summer City. For that matter, she doesn't have any sort of connection to anyone that lives in the city. And it just so happens that when she arrived in town was round about the same time that people started spotting our hero. Detective Sherwood goes to Sophie's home, and our hero makes an escape out the window and to the roof to avoid being seen, all the while never losing his pizza. Sophie talks to the detective about the near miss at the school, but confirms that she doesn't know the vigilante that showed up. But she does tell the detective that whoever he is, she believes that he just wants to help. Elsewhere in Summer City, James Tucker has escaped from prison. He's making his way through the streets, and now seems to be sporting a red hand imprinted on his face. We also see some sort of red being or entity with a red hand on its head, following him around, and enticing him like a devil sitting on his shoulder. The entity tells him that he should eat, as he is hungry for violence. He first visits his old job after they have closed for the evening and proceeds to beat his old boss to death with a hammer. The entity then leads James to Pizza Sun, the local pizza shop where we had seen Sophie visit earlier, and the worker that she was speaking to is still there. That worker is about to become James's next victim, when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, our hero steps in and takes the blood-soaked hammer off of him. James tries to attack our hero, but he is able to dodge his attacks. That is until the entity that is following James places his hand on our hero's chest and seems to zap him with some sort of power. This is where the pedestrian took a hard left turn in a direction that I could never have predicted that it was going to go. Our hero opens his eyes and is in the vastness of the cosmos, looking up at what I can only describe as traffic light and road sign celestial beings. I figured that with the red hand individuals showing up that we were going to get some sort of like rival ninja clan battling type thing. Something akin to Ninja Turtles and the Foot Clan or Daredevil in the Hand. Not celestial level beings controlling everything. While our hero is having a face to face with his gods? The Pizza Sun employee steps into action and takes out James with a swiftly aimed pizza paddle to the back of the head and knocks him out. As she stands over the two men now lying unconscious on the ground, Sophie shows up. She tells the bewildered worker that she'll fill her in later on everything, but right now she has to help her get her hero out of here and into her car. As they help him up, James's unconscious body sprouts red hands from its back and it skitters away into the night. The comic comes to an end with Sophie, our hero, and their possible new ally driving away from Pizza Sun. We are officially 2 issues into the Pedestrian and I literally don't have a clue where this is going. Like, I can't call it at this point. If you told me last month that when I heard a lot of buzz about this comic called The Pedestrian, a lot of people were giving it high praise for the first issue, I would never have imagined that this is where the story would have been going. Especially after issue 1, it felt like it was a kind of more slice of life. We were meeting a few of the people round about Summer City, we got to meet our hero, who was just going around and helping people, and I mean, I still don't know if he has any powers or anything like that. I mean, heck, what we saw in this issue, can't speak apparently, what we saw in this issue, he he could all be imagining it for all we know. But obviously in this issue we got a lot more kind of the alternate side. He's trying to do good. There's some sort of evil organization or evil beings trying to do stuff as well. And like I said during it, during a review, that I honestly felt that this was turning into like a kind of clan war type of thing between two different rival clans of street sign worshippers, kind of like two rival ninja clans fighting. And then it takes a hard left turn by bringing in these celestial-like beings that are in charge of it. Is this like some celestial-controlled war between these two different groups? Like, I have no clue where the story is going, but I am absolutely fascinated to find out. I am absolutely fascinated to check out issue 3 and see what the heck comes next. Where does this story possibly go from here? Because if it changes as much into issue 3 as it did coming into issue 2, it could go anywhere. In saying that, I am actually thoroughly enjoying the story. It's, for as weird and complicated as it felt like it got with that, it's actually also very simple and straightforward, and amazingly the focus is still on the people and still on those connections, and I think the story is holding up for that, because honestly it is simplicity with a little bit of madness like dashed in, essentially, and you know, just like a little dash of salt, you get a little dash of madness in you know, an everyday sort of life. So yeah, I'm really intrigued. That was going to be intrigued and excited and almost combined them together. I'm really intrigued and really excited to see where the Pedestrian goes. The artwork... I'm just going to cut that bit there. The artwork is absolutely stunning. It really is absolutely stunning. It's so nice for it, and it feels... I don't know how to describe it, because I want to get the words right for it, and it feels weird to say it like this, but it's almost like a... It feels like a little small town. It feels like a homecoming. It's got that nice small feel to it, as it feels very micro, like it's around the people. All the stories revolve around people, and it feels like the art pulls you into the people and pulls you into that. And then also the art completely changes when we get these big like celestial beings and things, and we see that it completely shines that way as well. Massive shout out to Shawn Gorman for his art in this, because he really got to flex some muscles in this issue. And also to Josh Jensen, the man with the name that I can't say apparently with a Scottish tongue, for the colouring in this. Like, both of them and their artwork in this was just absolutely stunning. Yeah, I would recommend go and check out the Pedestrian. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Not like I'm raving about it, but like I enjoy this, where this is going. It honestly feels like we're on a journey, and I'm quite content to see where the journey takes us. Also, in saying that, make sure that you check out our conversation for a little more of a deep dive in this. We are going to be talking to Joey Esposito and Shawn Gorman about the Pedestrian, and I'm really excited now to pick their brain about this, having gone through issue 2. We won't be doing spoilers for issue 3 in that interview, but I do have it to read, and we'll be reading it prior, so we'll maybe give a little hint of what's to come. But I'm really excited to pick their brains for this now, and to dive into this series. So go and check it out. Go to your local comic store. From Magma Comics, The Pedestrian number 2, and I'm sure you can probably grab number 1 as well. It's only a month old. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. Yeah, I hope this was a great one for you. Make sure to come back, as next week we kick off our October series. We kick off our spooky comic reviews and spooky stuff here on the channel, and go into a little bit of the horror comics, and we have a few interesting titles coming up for you. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. Remember, we do have some other channels, so go and check them out below. And also, we do have a Patreon, so if you want early access to all of our videos and also some behind the scenes stuff and exclusive stuff that goes straight to Patreon, please go over there and check it out. You can support us for as little as $2 a month. Also, you might notice this right below me. We are affiliates with BCW. If you are a comic collector of any kind, you probably know who BCW are. You probably have boards and bags and boxes with BCW logos on them. We are affiliated with them, so if you go to bcwsupplies.com, use code ComicsCross, it will save you 10% on all purchases on the website for some of that stuff. And if you're like me, you're going to need more of it. If you're a comic collector, you're always going to need more bags and boards and long boxes and different things. So go and check them out for all of your comic book and collectible needs. But that's it for me today. Remember, it is a good week to be a geek. Take care, everyone. We will see you all next time. Peace.